Hello and welcome back, programming enthusiasts. In today's tutorial, we are going to be demystifying the scanf function and understand how we can use it to take user inputs in our program. In our previous example, we looked at how we can initialize our variables using particular values, but in this particular case, we are going to see that those values shall actually be coming from the users through the use of a keyboard. We are going to use a case study that involves a user inputting the voltage, inputting the current, and having the program compute for us the resistance and displaying the output in a very pleasant format. So hold on as we begin this particular journey. A function that normally allows us to pick inputs from a keyboard so that they can actually be stored on our computer and they can be manipulated and help us to display is normally undertaken through a function that we refer to as a scanf function. You remember we said that the printf function is responsible for displaying a user's information on the computer screen. However, on the other hand, a scanf function is responsible for capturing an input from a particular keyboard. It's more or less a scanf, it's to a scanner, a printf, it's to a printer. So in the event that you want to give a user an opportunity to enter values from the keyboard, then you have to use a function which we refer to as a scanf, which is also included in the header file that we discussed earlier that is called the #include stdio.h, which is a standard input-output header file. Let's look at that particular example. We have a statement here which is scanf, and then we have opening bracket. We have two parts. The first part is what we refer to as the format string or the format specifier section, and the next part is the address section. Every time you use a scanf statement, it has to have those two parts. The first part helps us to know what kind of value are you inputting from your keyboard. When we are learning about format specifiers, we know that a %d implies that the value that you are capturing from your keyboard is an integer. When you use a %f, we are going to know that the value that you are capturing from your keyboard is actually having decimal places, and so on and so forth. The next part is the address section. The address section is denoted by the presence of this AND operator, or what we refer to as the address of. That AND symbol is used to pass to that variable name, in this given case A, the address of its location, so that a value that is actually being put via the keyboard, it's possible to know where should that value be stored. Remember, when we are learning about variables, we said that you declare a variable, and we saw how you can actually initialize a variable with a value. So automatically a value has already been stored in a given variable. But here is a scenario where now this value is coming from the keyboard. We need to provide the address of that storage location so that the value that is put from the keyboard can be taken straight into that particular address location. So remember that each and every time you use a scanf and you want to specify where that value needs to be stored, you have to additionally provide this symbol implying that you are giving the address of that particular variable. Using this particular case study that we had also discussed earlier, in this particular junction now, we do not want to work with default values, but we want to give a user an opportunity to actually input those particular values. So the program will allow a user to capture or to enter the value of the voltage. They'll also be prompted to enter the value of the current, and then the program will compute the resistance and display. So whenever you see this option, take in, it means that we expect a scanf in that given case. Whenever we see display, we know that we expect to use a printf to achieve that. So this is how the program is going to be. Line 4 should not be strange to you. We looked at how we normally declare our variables. You can see we have not initialized them because we want to give users an opportunity to input those particular values from our keyboard. Now, line 6, the user is going to see this statement on the screen, enter the voltage. And what is going to happen is they're going to see their cursor blinking, allowing them an opportunity to enter the value. So they will enter the value. And what is going to make it possible is because of this function. This function scanf, we have said that it has two parts. So the first part is denoting that a user should enter a value that has decimal places in it. The next one is indicating the address of this variable. So by putting this and, it will be possible now, the value that a user enters will be taken to this storage location. We repeat the same for the current, and then that voltage that was entered, that current that was entered, they are going to be divided, and the result is going to be stored in this variable called resistance. And then the display is going to happen, and the output will read resistance value, and then that particular value to 2 decimal places. So a sample output, so a user may enter 100, and the current a user may enter 20. The program will actually display resistance value and display 5.00. If you want to make it a bit pleasing to the eyes and a bit professional, we can format our output as I'm going to show in the next slide. So we have arranged the way we want our output to be displayed. So this is the only section that we have amended in terms of the display. And once we are prompted, we'll be prompted to enter 100 as our voltage, 20 as our current, and you can see now how our output has been organized. It's more pleasing and professional to our eyes. So we want you to capture that program, write it down, try to put different values, and see whether you can get the same formatted output. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.